Hey y'all, this is Culture Soup, where tech, culture, and business collide. It's a podcast that spoons up everything hot from social media. I'm your host, L. Michelle Smith, and each episode we bring you some of the most notable and not yet notable thought leaders in tech, business, and culture. The year was 2019, June to be exact. I was attending the Lead 360 Combine in Atlanta, Georgia. We'd already had our opening sessions, we'd been mixing and mingling, and it was time to go to the Hyde Museum where we would hear the wind talks. They'd reserved cars for most of the speakers. In fact, Uber Black had some kind of arrangement with the conference. I jumped in an Uber, and there were 3 other executives in the car with me. The people at the Combine are so, how can I put it? They're friendly, but everyone's proactive about meeting one another. So, of course, we went around and introduced ourselves. In the back seat was a gentleman named Calvin Butts, Jr. Now, if you're African American and you are a churchgoer, you probably recognize that name. So I promptly said to him, I'm sure you've heard this before, but I'm going to ask the question. And he responds, no, not that Calvin Butts. You see, Calvin Butts, the one we're referring to, is a very well-known pastor in New York City. But he wasn't that Calvin Butts' son, although he said his dad met that Calvin Butts. This is a different Calvin Butts. This is Calvin Butts Jr. from East Chop Capital. As it turns out, I would recognize him from my newsfeed because Black Enterprise had done a story about him and his partner and some investment they were doing on the East Coast. Martha's Vineyard, the Poconos, Hilton Head. 2 out of 3 of my favorite places. And the third one, because I've never been, I sure plan on going to the Poconos. I talked to Calvin on the ride over, and we decided to stay connected. And true to his word, he reached out first. We got to talking, and I realized that these guys really had a great story to share. Both Hamptonians, and you'll know because they don't let it go, that they are HBCU grads, and they are doing some amazing things in the realm of hospitality and investing. Without further ado, I introduce to you 2 guests for the first time on the Culture Soup podcast, Calvin L. Butts Jr. and Carrington M. Carter of East Chop Capital. Hey everybody, I'm so excited that I have 2 new friends on the line with me this morning. Carrington M. Carter and Calvin L. Butts Jr. of East Chop Capital. Hey Carrington and hey Calvin.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. And you know what, I have to say, you guys are making history. The Culture Soup podcast will have been on the air a year in October. This is the first time we've had 2 people on at the same time from 2 separate places. So I appreciate you working through the technology with me.
No problem. We're happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So Carrington, you're coming in from New Jersey, right?
I'm in Columbus,
You're
Ohio.
in Columbus. Okay. For some reason on Skype it had New Jersey. And
Yes,
Calvin, you're in New Jersey, right? Okay, good. So tell me about East Chop Capital.
Yeah, so I'll keep it brief. I mean, we are a private equity firm that is looking to blend the opportunities for folks to invest, educate, and have great social experiences across a new style of investing. Our first fund is focused on the vacation rental home market, and we're off to a really great start, and we're excited. We've got about 30 or so investors on board, and we're continuing with a lot of great momentum and growing daily.
Awesome. So you guys, I mean, Carrington, you were doing some of this already, or you already do, and then you 2 came together. Is that how it worked?
Correct. I've been in the in the real estate space probably for the last 10 years or so. Just started with, single family rental homes in my hometown of Dayton, Ohio, then expanded into vacation rental homes, which is where I brought Calvin on board, kind of talked to them about the idea and the experience that I had renting vacation homes as a consumer, and how I thought we could get into the space as owners and renting our homes out to travelers all around the world.
I love it. Now, I first read about you guys in Black Enterprise. I contribute to the publication, and I saw your faces pop up, and I was so pleased to see two Black men doing the thing, right? You rarely get to read about that. You guys are young. You're not exactly old at all. So it's awesome. And I think it's a great moment for us to go in and have our culture soup moment. What do you think?
Absolutely. Jump in. Let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, great. So, I go through the threads all the time, and I see one thing that's popular, and people like to book their vacations online, and not just, the old-fashioned way really was just to go to an Expedia or something like that and book a hotel and book a flight, and you have your vacation, you go. But now it's so different. There's Airbnb, there's Noir B&B, where, they're not in the business of actually having the properties themselves, but they're a technology company. They connect you kind of like Uber, but you guys actually own these places. And Martha's Vineyard is one of my favorite places to go. So tell me more.
Sure. So I'll start, and then Calvin, you can jump in. So we own a luxury vacation rental home company called Getaway Society, in which we own and manage a portfolio of homes on Martha's Vineyard, as you mentioned, Hilton Head, and also in the Pocono Mountains, all East Coast and southern destinations. And a key differentiator with our company is that we do own and manage the homes, and this really allows us to ensure a consistent quality guest experience. And that's what we're really passionate about. In addition to direct bookings on our website, we do list our homes on popular platforms like Airbnb, HomeAway, and Vrbo, which is new pronunciation, Vrbo instead of VRBO, which it was formerly known as. And we're really excited, and we enjoy creating a premium guest experience for all of our customers.
That sounds sweet. So that takes a lot. You've got teams that manage the properties for you. So you have a pretty good payroll, sounds like.
I would say more. We use third-party contractors. Okay. So, but with any business, it's all about having the right team in place. But Calvin and I are day to day. We talk to the guest, and that's what we enjoy. So we're the first point of contact with the guests when they have questions. When they have questions about the houses, when they're at the houses, wanting information on things to do in the area. So we're the first point of contact, but we have a phenomenal team of housekeepers, on-the-ground caretakers, electricians, plumbers, in all of the locations where we have houses, and that's really the key to success with not just our business, with any business. It's all about having the right team in place.
That's beautiful. How does technology play in? Calvin, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so it comes from across the board. So we have the applications and the platforms that we use to find our customers, or our customers use to find us. But then there's tons of technology in the home as well. We're able to monitor our expenses with Nest thermostats. We're able to provide an understanding on what's happening in the home with smoke and carbon monoxide, digital app connected devices. And we have smart locks so that folks can get in and out house. Should someone leave a key, we're able to unlock the house for them. From our phones, we're able to give them their own personal entry code.
Smart.
So technology plays a significant part in how we're successfully able to manage these homes from really what we call distance.
Right. That's amazing, and it's probably how you're recruiting. I'm guessing. You tell me. The plumbers and the electricians that you mentioned, the housekeepers. Are you on the ground looking for these folks, or do you use technology to vet them?
Well, you'll love this part. We've been able to find folks through Instagram. We've been able to find folks Facebook. I mean, there's folks who are kind of like us, who are young and savvy and kind of promoting themselves and kind of looking to start their own businesses. We've helped 2 young men who are electricians. We really helped them start their own construction company by giving them some bigger projects to help expand their footprint on Martha's Vineyard. I think we were able to find our new cleaning crew through Instagram and their ability to show us some of their work. And then we connect with them. We pay them through digital apps. I mean, it is just the way technology has made running a business. I mean, one of the things, Carrington and I talk about, I mean, we've been able to really own these homes and manage them through what we call our laptop business.
I love it. Now, let's talk about how we met. We were in Atlanta for the Lead 360 Combine, right? Now, I know,
That's right.
Calvin, you're a frat brother. You're Alpha, right? Aren't you?
Carrington.
Okay. I knew one of you guys was frat brothers with Eric Winston Walker, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
good.
Eric and I go way back.
Yeah. So you'll find it's so interesting over the course of the year of the show that the Alphas have just been dominating. I don't know what's going on. We got to get some Qs and some Kappas on here or something. I don't know. But anyway, Alphas have been all over the place. But we were at Lead 360 in Atlanta, and I first got to share how I met Calvin. We're in an Uber headed to the museum for the Wind Talks, and there are a few of us in the car. I think it is. I'm in the front seat, and we're just kind of chatting. And I asked what his name was, and he said Calvin Butts Jr. And of course, for my African American listeners here in the States, you'll probably go, oh, because I did too. And I said, so are you the son of the pastor? And he's like, no. I get that all the time. So no relation, right?
No relation, not that we can trace back. I think he spoke to my father before my father passed, but I don't think there's a direct connection. We're both, there's a Butts County in Georgia that may have some roots for both families. Mm-hmm. So there's perhaps some relation way back.
Gotcha. And Carrington, I think we bumped into each other when Michelle Gee was doing her last keynote, which was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know that I had made the connection at that point that you were the Carrington that was the partner for Calvin. But again, I had seen both of your pictures in Black Enterprise telling the story. So I'm really pleased to make your new acquaintance and glad to have you on the show. Tell me a little bit about your background. So let's start with Calvin. Health and marketing?
Yeah. So we went to Hampton University, started off as a pharmaceutical sales rep, then worked with some small media advertising firms, and then got the entrepreneur bug and started my own companies, focused on medical education, sales training, and, really kind of business consulting and development. And then, really started looking at the opportunities and the success of those companies and then trying to spin them into some other investments, started angel investing, and started looking for opportunities to invest in other companies. And then I had a chance to meet Carrington at a Hampton University Young Alumni Conference. And we got a chance to kind of hit it off. And he was telling me about these exciting real estate ventures that he was having at the time in Dayton, Ohio, and then his plans to pivot from monthly rental checks to weekly rental checks and kind of looking at the vacation home industry. And that just really was kind of in line with what I was doing. I had some real estate going on in Philadelphia, and I was looking to pivot into really more luxury rentals and kind of, thinking about expanding, up and down the East Coast. And I just thought it was a perfect opportunity. And you know what they say, when you see a young brother doing good, you got to get behind him. And he was off to a great start, and I was excited to invest and put some wind behind him.
That's excellent. Carrington, so
Sure.
You've been in real estate a while.
Yeah. Been in real estate about 10 years, but I actually also started my career in pharmaceutical marketing. Okay. So went to Hampton as well. I got my MBA at the University of Pittsburgh.
So nobody's going to say the real HU? I'm waiting.
Oh, we already know.
So just because I'm a PWI, it doesn't mean I don't know.
We already know. We already know it is. So we don't have to proclaim it. We don't have to proclaim it.
Right.
Yeah, so did my MBA at the University of Pittsburgh. I started my pharmaceutical marketing career in product management, brand management, summer 2008. Fall 2008, the economy started to soften. And then March 29, we were in a full-blown recession. Thankfully, I kept my job, but a lot of other people lost their job or couldn't get a job. So I thought then and there, how can I deploy my capital? Had a good paying job. What kind of industries can I get involved in that required capital, which I had, but that didn't necessarily require active day-to-day management? So that's how I got into real estate.
Perfect.
Really acquiring 1 or 2 or 3 single-family rental homes year over year. And then a group of myself and some friends, every year we would go to the Poconos on a ski trip. And then it came time for me to plan the trip. I found the house. I worked with the owner, collected everyone's money. And then when I realized we were paying him $3,000 to stay at his house for a weekend, I started running the numbers and I said, you know, I think I want to get into this.
I need to be doing this.
Yeah. And this was 2012, 2013. So Airbnb, Vrbo, HomeAway, they were popular, but certainly not as popular as they are now. So I would say the vacation rental space has been around for a while, but the infusion of technology and really facilitating the transaction between the owner and the consumer is much more easier today, which is why the opportunity is so great. So talked to Calvin about the plan, also one of my fraternity brothers, Jeremiah Myers, who I went to Hampton with, and we pledged the same chapter at Hampton. Talked to him about the idea, brought them on board, and then we built our first house in the Poconos from the ground up, 6-bedroom, 3-bath. Broke ground in September of 2014, and it was up and running in May of 15.
Awesome. Wow, that is so awesome. Listen, so everything about this podcast is at the intersection of tech, culture, and business. We've covered off on business. We know you guys are phenomenal entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs. The technology we've covered too. Culturally, you just named 3 places that my people love for different reasons, right? Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that?
Yeah.
There's history in Martha's Vineyard for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the history is huge. I mean, I can tell you how I first got to Martha's Vineyard. So I had not been prior to 2014. I was in Boston for the Grand Belize conference, and several of the gentlemen at the conference were talking about their summer plans were to leave the conference early and go start their week on the vineyard. Yeah. And I'm just like, wow,
what is going on?
Like, what's going on? And I had met a pharmaceutical buddy who's now one of our investors, Michael Gaines, said, "Hey, Cal, I'm going to be up there. Come up Wednesday night. We'll go to dinner, and we'll go up and down Circuit Avenue, and you can see some of the magic of the place." And I'm just like, magic? Yeah, I'm like, okay. I was like, fine. So my wife was actually pregnant with our son at the time, so she was due a couple weeks later. She's like, "Look, you got one night, okay?" And I'm like, okay.
Sylvia's I'll sneak up on Oak Bluffs.
Exactly. So I said, okay, I'll go up there for one night, and I fly to JFK. On my plane is the president of Morehouse and 2 preachers that I knew from New Jersey, and I'm seeing an entire 737 full of us headed to this destination. Yeah, notables, and I'm just like, okay. I was like, let me button my shirt up here, and figure out where I'm going. And so we land, and immediately everyone starts talking. Mm-hmm. There's like this open door vibe. Yeah. Everyone kind of knows everybody, and they're talking, and I'm just like, wow. And so got a chance to just kind of slide right into that community. And as we walk up and down Circuit Ave, of course you're being stopped by somebody from this conference and from pharmaceuticals, or somebody went to Hampton, or somebody from Inroads. I mean Savannah, Georgia, where I'm from. I mean, the history was just. And the folks I was bumping into had a lot of connection to my history, my parents. So I said, wait a second. I said, I need to learn more about this place. So that evening after dinner, started looking up, the history, and really just kind of was like, wow, there's this place called Scherer Cottage. In 1904, 2 Hamptonians, Charles and Henrietta Scheer, built this cottage that was really the first place for African Americans to actually, lodge and stay. And then that grew to be kind of the epicenter for, connectivity for folks during the Harlem Renaissance and all the key, times where, African Americans had to come together and, plan things and strategize. And, they had some extremely notable guests that stayed there, performed there. And I just said, wow, man, what a magical place with a lot of great history. And so that night I ended up looking up a realtor and I emailed like 5 realtors, and one lady hit me back at like 1 o'clock in the morning and said, I can pick you up at 7 o'clock. We can go for it.
Oh, wow.
We can go look at some houses. And I called Carrington. I said, Carrington, look, I know we're in the middle of building this house in the Poconos, but I think we got to move on something up here because this place is magical.
Yeah.
Michael was telling me you're telling me the math about how everyone rents for the week and Saturday to Saturday, Sunday to Sunday, and there's so much to do. And I'm just like, I'm fascinated at this point. So we go look at about 5 houses. One of them just kind of stands out. And I think I FaceTime Carrington, and I'm kind of giving him the look like, I'm ready if you're ready.
Like, what are you waiting on?
Yeah, so him being the super smart one in the group.
Oh.
He's already done the math and he's already done everything, and he's already said, look, if we get it for this price, we can do this weekly, and he's like, the numbers look really good, Calvin. We should move on it. And I said, okay, done. So that was in October. That was in August. I think we finally formalized our offer like 1st of October, and we closed December 1st.
Wow.
On our first home, Martha's Vineyard, and then. We realized that the area that we're buying in was in stone's throw of Sheriff Cottage, which as Hamptonians who married him, that story just stands out to us. Both our wives went to Hampton, and to follow in the legacy and footprints of Charles and Henrietta Shear and have 2 homes in stone's throw and another one now the fun and walking distance. It's magical for us.
That's amazing. That's a wonderful story. Carrington, had you been to Martha's Vineyard?
No,
You hadn't. Okay.
Had heard a lot about it and was planning to go shortly. Calvin made it there before I did, but knew the history and certainly understood the potential. So, and we're at the age, as you mentioned earlier. We're still youthful.
Yes,
we're still youthful,
and
from a business standpoint, from an investment standpoint, this is when you take the risk.
Right.
You have the rest of your life to potentially rebound on any kind of failures you may have. So we're very much risk tolerant.
Excellent. I have the same relationship with Martha's Vineyard. My dad was going on a business trip. I think it was a retreat. He was with the U.S. Department of Labor at the time. And they would be in Boston, and at some point they were going to take, almost said the jitney, that's the Hamptons, the Peter Pan to the ferry, right, at Woods Hole, and then go over. Well, he's going to take my mom with him, and I was probably working my first agency job at that time, and I decided, maybe I should go too, because I'd heard about it, but I didn't know much about it. That was, magical is a word for it. Magical is the word for it. And this had to have been back in 1990. It was in the 1990s.
Yeah.
But ever since then, I've tried to make it back most summers. Because it's amazing. And it is like that. Even if you don't know the people, you feel like you do. And you talk to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an open door policy. My kids, they spend more time freely walking and riding bikes more so than they've ever done in Jersey. It's a very safe and very comfortable place, and we've gotten to know many of our neighbors, and we've invited folks up to give them their first Vineyard experience. Now they come back and they rent and have purchased on their own. So it's one of those traditions and legacy things that we're excited to be a part of.
I love Hilton Head too, and it's interesting, the Poconos. I remember on the Cosby Show talking about going to the Poconos. That's one of the places that they would get away. A lot of our people go to the Poconos. No?
Yeah. There are a lot of, especially the East Coasters, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, even coming down from Connecticut. It's really a great central meetup point for families and friends who kind of live all along the East Coast. So it's also a year-round destination, which appeals to a lot of travelers. And you got your skiing in the winter, and it's obviously our houses are very close to one of 2 lakes in the Poconos that allow motorized boats. So there's a huge summer draw for a lot of the boating activities there. It's golf courses, so really a lot to do. A lot of family type activities in the Poconos. So a lot of history there as well. I think Rick Ross mentioned it in one of one of my favorite songs of his. So it's a wonderful place. It's escape from the city. It's very quiet and peaceful. So yeah, it's a wonderful place. It's one of the reasons why we decided to make an investment there.
Did I see something about Belize?
Yeah. So Belize. Yeah, so one of the things that that Calvin and I do is, as I mentioned, kind of we're very risk tolerant. We're really scouring the globe for opportunities in a lot of different places. Belize is a wonderful place, kind of an up and coming destination. We have an investment in land in Belize that we may build on. It's more of a longer term play, 5, 10, maybe even 15 years down the line. But again, we're always looking for kind of what's next. And we see Belize and a couple of other opportunities in the Caribbean and in Latin America that we think have long term potential. So right now it's just a land purchase. So not a whole lot of details there, but again, went to the Belize, kind of fell in love with the place, and really see it as a good long term play.
Awesome. So that sounds like a project that's in the works. Anything else that you might be able to talk about that's coming down the pipe?
I would say, business is good. We're just finishing a great summer in all of our homes on the Vineyard and Hilton Head and the Poconos. So as I mentioned, Calvin and I are both very hands-on. So it's good to kind of have a breather now as we head into the fall season. We have secured, a good amount of funding from investors. A little bit over $1 million. So that's going to help us expand our portfolio. So we're really excited about that. We're looking at about maybe 6 destinations in the East and Southeast U.S. And we think, those are attractive destinations for a variety of reasons. And we think it'll really add to our growing portfolio and our ability to continue to delight customers.
Wow.
So I was saying, some additional portfolio expansion is kind of in the works in the short term. And then it's kind of separately from the vacation rental homes. Calvin and I are both invested in real estate. So there are a couple of different initiatives and projects that we're looking in Columbus, Ohio, which is where I reside. 14th largest city in the country, just overtook San Francisco, has a lot of phenomenal components that really make it a great and thriving city. So excited about opportunities there. And Hampton University, Calvin and I are both graduates, and we really want to continue to invest not just in the university, but in the city of Hampton.
What school did you say you went to? I don't remember.
There's only one to talk about. Hampton University. Hey, Hampton Nation. All day.
Oh, that's so funny. That's awesome. Well, listen.
One more thing that we have,
sure.
I think I'd like to mention our investor retreat is coming up. So we're excited about that. We'll be entertaining some of our investors down in Hilton Head. We've got a very unique opportunity to not just give and provide updates on what we have going on, but to also educate them with some guest speakers that are going to be some very fascinating individuals with some great backgrounds and some stories. So that's one thing we try to do as kind of one of our overarching goals is to learn and share. And we do that by, really investing in the folks who are investing in us as well.
I love that. How enriching. Well, you know what? Give us the name of the company again. Tell us how to find you. Do we need to download an app?
So we have a couple different companies. So there's Getaway Society, which is you can find us. That's where you can find all of our homes, and that's just getawaysociety.com. McKinley Car Enterprises is the original entity that Carrington started, that I am a proud investor in. And then there's East Chop Capital, which you can also find at eastchopcapital.com, which is our private equity firm. And you can reach out to us both just with our first names at eastchopcapital.com.
Oh my gosh, you know what? I just had an idea. I should share it with you. You guys should do a podcast. And maybe it shouldn't be you guys, but it should be around travel. And all of these locations that you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things I like Carrington to maybe even briefly touch on, he's been a true great advisor to me in the area of wealth building and, being more strategic with finances. And I think he's very close to launching his wealth strategy firm. And I think that's something that has benefited me greatly, and I think will provide significant value to not only our investors, but to other folks who may sign up for his services. So I'm very proud of him And
well, that's
and that
awesome. Financial literacy is something that our communities really, really need, and wealth management takes it to that next level, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm really excited about that. More and more people are starting to come to myself and Calvin as well to understand how to be more financially literate, how to invest in, what to invest in, how to get into real estate, how to launch a business. And I think all of that kind of collectively falls under how to build wealth, not just for your, but under generations to come. So myself as a real estate developer in the vacation rental home space, having commercial real estate, being an entrepreneur, I feel like, I've gained this skill set and this wealth and that I can, relay on to people and help them where they are.
Well, you're singing my song, because I've said to myself, my next step is real estate. As a serial entrepreneur and as a business coach, I just feel like part of it is that we walk our talk, right? And we shouldn't be sharing anything that we're not willing to do ourselves.
Absolutely.
But real estate, that's my next thing.
Yeah, and we'd be happy to help you with that. I mean, real estate provides, depending on what type you get into it, and even really probably most types, provide you an asset that you can leverage in different ways. You can, our homes we're able to leverage with clients, friends. We're able to leverage for events. I mean, we've hosted fundraisers at our homes. We've, been able to assist with, certain political agendas, et cetera. I mean, we've, they're really beautiful places that can be leveraged different ways that can provide what we like to call our rainbow value, or, us kind of, taking advantage of the matrix and kind of, being able to add more value to us. Soft ROI is another term we use a lot, right? I mean, we're able to build a lot of relationships and leverage the properties in ways that, you really can't do with other assets.
Right. One more topic. So, Calvin, it says here you're an angel investor. For businesses out there that are looking for capital, how do they court or approach someone like you?
Well, I think, what young, individuals have to do when they start companies is they got to be very comfortable sharing and telling their story and asking for help. I tell you, I find many of my investments either A, directly doing research and kind of digging into new technologies, or B, from mentees who have a classmate who started something, who has an idea, and they get comfortable enough to introduce it to me, and then I'll digest it and share it with my network. And, we may come up with some funds for or we introduce them to a banking relationship that can help them. But I think, it's very important to share your story, tell your story. And, as you coach several individuals on, having that quick, explanation and that 30-second, 90-second, 3-minute story so you can confidently and comfortably, tell someone what you do, what you're looking for, and how can they help. And, I love hearing students call and share their ideas for apps and for, businesses. And, I end up taking on, mentees who are interested in real estate. And, I try to schedule 30 minutes a month to just have a conversation, get an update on what they're up to. But yeah, then, those can easily turn into investor-like relationships. But I think you got to be comfortable telling and sharing your story and asking for help.
That's so
and know
important.
What you want, right?
Yeah, and that gets right down to authenticity. So many times people feel like they need to put a representative out there, look a certain way, act a certain way, and never show any vulnerabilities. And what I hear you saying is showing that vulnerability can get you opportunity, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it helps me get to know the best of you and exactly who you are. And it could add more trust and value to the conversation for me to know I'm talking to the real you and that you need help. And that you understand where you're at and you can articulate where you want to go.
Wonderful. Carrington, you have anything else you want to share before we give out all the different places to find you guys online?
No, I think it's been a great conversation. Really appreciate the invitation to come and speak on the podcast. Really had a great time, and I really like the areas of focus that you're discussing, the culture, tech, and business. And I think the fusion of those topics, really make for a fruitful discussion. And I think we had that here today. So I really appreciate the invitation.
Well, that's good to hear because it's embedded in my value proposition and my story. So I think I probably couldn't even live and breathe without all three of them. I appreciate you guys. So where can we find you on social?
So I would say Instagram at Carrington M Carter. That's kind of my main platform. Don't really do too much with Twitter. On Instagram, somewhat. I'm more of the introverted one out of the two and I. So I won't say that I put a whole lot of information on there just yet, but that's an area of growth for me.
Well, we can talk about your brand if you'd like.
Sure, would love to. That's an area of growth for me, and Calvin's always pushing me to share more of my story and what I do. So I'm starting to do that a little bit more.
That's
but
awesome.
At Carrington M Carter.
Awesome. And Calvin?
Yeah. And I am a just BUCB. One of the things I strive to be, kind of you talk about, is that authentic self. So it's JUSBUCB. I'm on that on Instagram, on Twitter as well. I'm Cal B Jr. So you can catch me there. Again, I love talking about real estate, love talking about Hampton. So if you have an appetite for those two topics, you'll enjoy my page.
Awesome. And that's eastchopcapital.com as well, correct?
Correct.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to the Culture Soup podcast. Carrington and Calvin, so excited to make your acquaintance and be friends and see what we can do to support one another.
Absolutely.
That's good. Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good one.
What an awesome conversation with Carrington M. Carter and Calvin L. Butts Jr. of East Chop Capital. Thanks, guys. And yeah, to all you Hamptonians out there, I understand. Y'all are the real HU. Hey, all you Howard Bisons out there, don't come for me. I have much respect for the HU in Washington, D.C. Okay, so what's coming up next? I am going to Wichita, Kansas to speak to the American Marketing Association, the Wichita chapter, about the case for culture and marketing. You guys, this is my signature keynote. It started the whole tour in 2017, was it? Yeah. So I'm excited to sit in front of a room full of marketers and share with them about the new mass market and what that means and how they can engage inclusion marketing and operationalize it and literally reach more people for more opportunity and save money too, because of the missteps that you can make if you ignore the cultural nuances. Yes, very important conversation. And then October is loaded with speaking ops. Go to my website to find out more, lmichellesmith.com/speaking. And then under that, you can get to my appearances and find out where I'll be next. Find us online at theculturesoup.com, on Instagram and Twitter at The Culture Soup, and on Facebook at The Culture Soup Podcast. Until next week.
The Culture Soup Podcast is a production of No Size Communication, LLC.
Is a registered trademark of No Silos Communications, LLC.